Good afternoon. My name is Jim Conlan and welcome to the latest episode of Entertainment Show. As you know, each week we preview upcoming TV series and movies debuting in Ireland. And obviously, they debuted in Ireland, they debut in the UK as well this upcoming month. And for the month of December, one of the TV series that really caught our eye, it's coming out in December the 15th on ITV X. It's the story around the Russian political activist Alexander Litvinenko, who sadly passed away through poisoning by the Russian government, traced back to the Kremlin. It's a true-based story. It came out. Obviously, Litvinenko died. Unfortunately, this all came out in 2006. So this TV series features what happened in the lead up to his death and after his death in terms of the investigation of Scotland Yard as well. I'm delighted to be joined today by one of the star actresses of the four-part TV series, Estella Daniels, who plays the character Dr Onome George. Estella, first of all, thank you for joining us. And Litvinenko, how excited are you? December the 15th, it's only 13 days away now.
I'm really, really excited. I've got a double whammy Christmas in store. I'm really excited to see it.
And Estella, in terms of this contract coming to your door, in terms of your script, I spoke to Margarita, who played one of the lead characters in Litvinenko's wife in the sort of TV series, and she was in Spain at the time, and she didn't know whether the opportunity would come to her pass or not. How did the opportunity arise for you to take part in Litvinenko and play the character Dr Onome George?
I auditioned when I was here in the UK, in London. And yeah, I just auditioned like I do for any other project and just kept my fingers crossed. And then I was fortunate to get the role.
And Estella, were you sort of aware of was it very much a secret in terms of the script, in terms of the role that you were lining out for? Had you known, well, this was sort of character in terms of a four-part TV series, was much given away to you about what it was going to entail or what sort of role was about?
I think the name was mentioned. And if I can remember correctly, the name of the project was actually, no, it was called something else. That's a lie. It was called something else, but yeah, it was called something else, obviously, I guess, just to protect it. But they, I think in the blurb, there was just a little description of this true life story. And I remembered the situation from when it was in the news when I was younger. So I was fascinated, and I just thought to myself, yeah, I really hope that I can get the role and be a part of it, because I like things like projects like that, and I like true life stuff and thrillers and so on and so forth. So yeah, it was a different name.
Yeah. And Estella, in terms of a true life story, obviously in such a scenario where there's such a tragic sort of demise, and obviously it means sort of so much to the family, the Litvinenko family, in terms of how this is portrayed. It's almost like every actress, every actor involved in this sort of series wants to do it sort of justice right down to the minimum. How much did you sort of yourself do a bit of personal research into everything that went around? Did you sort of look back on old sort of clips in the news, in YouTube, to try and get yourself delve into that sort of environment, just to get a fully understanding on what you were going to be part of and what you're going to be taking on in terms of your role as well?
Yeah, most definitely. I remember I jumped on Google, and unfortunately we had a lot of research material that had been sent to us as well, so I could flick through all of that as well. But I just took myself back to that period. And I remember, like, when I was younger and it came on the news, I was so scared. Like, I was scared to leave the house, and I was scared to go into central London because I thought I was going to be contaminated with this poisonous substance. So for some reason, just that feeling alone and that memory, I just wanted to almost push it into, like, I knew it was something serious. I knew this project was a really serious project, obviously for entertainment, but just there was a serious nature to it, which obviously is probably going to be explored throughout. So yeah, I did a lot of research, and I just remember sitting with myself and thinking about how I felt when I saw this on the news and how it could potentially affect people when they see the drama. But yeah, a lot of research, a lot of Googling, YouTubing, just reading around it really, and trying to get familiar with the family dynamics and all of that interesting stuff.
And I suppose, Estella, in terms of your character, obviously you play a doctor who's obviously treating Litvinenko when he comes into the sort of ward and that sort of scenario, sort of such. In terms of what was sort of given in terms of the background, in terms of what sense did you feel that you wanted to bring to this sort of series in terms of your role? Was it come across as a real professional doctor in terms of real expertise in biological hazards, biological weapons? What was the sort of your sort of take in terms of the character you were trying to portray and bring her across on screen?
I guess just someone who was intrigued by what was happening, the seriousness of the situation, being as professional, this within this character, as professional as possible. But I think, I just had autonomy to really sort of do what I wanted with the character. I think possibly my character may have been a fictional character within the world, possibly. Yeah. I hope I haven't given anything away there, but just looking at the role of a doctor and the role of a sort of biohazard doctor, or a doctor that works within that field, and what they would do.
And Estella, in terms of your memories, in terms of, obviously you worked in London, I know the sort of Russian sort of criminal scenes were shot at the outskirts of Watford, but in terms of your sort of shooting, was it mainly central sort of London? And what was your sort of working week? Were you involved in, I know it's a 4-part episode, but in terms of your take, was it maybe 1 to 2 episodes?
Gosh, it feels, I can't even remember now how many episodes. I think my character was in 2 or 3 episodes, I believe. And for me, the shoot was primarily, it was solely in London, in central London. I think it was in an old station or somewhere like that. That we shot in.
Okay. And obviously, David obviously went to such great extent to sort of portray Litvinenko in terms of his own sort of appearance. Or actually, he actually went out to meet Litvinenko's wife and sit down in person with her and obviously talk through her demise. And how obviously to portray sort of a Russian type of person who's actually sort of dying as well. Were you blown back when you saw David lying in front of you in terms of everything, in terms of the facial skin, in terms of everything that he went to try and give a real life perfection in terms of someone that had been exposed to such a chemical?
I will say that I didn't even recognize him.
Okay. That was actually a common take, because Margarita actually said the first time she actually met David on the cast, she hadn't spoke to him in terms of pre-production, but the minute she walked into set, David was in character basically straight off the bat in terms of Litvinenko. Was that the same for you, that minute you walked on set, that bang, he was Litvinenko, he was straight in character, that there was no, hi, I'm David Tennant, nice to meet you sort of thing? It was very much,
very much in character, in the zone. Yes.
Yeah, in character, in the zone. And I spoke to Marguerite, and sometimes these sorts of stories can get drawn out for sort of 10 episodes. I mentioned this throughout his life as well. And sometimes, obviously, you're sort of prolonging a sort of story that doesn't need to be prolonged as sort of such. But sometimes this feels nice and homely. It's sharp, it's precise, it's factual. It tells everything that needs to be told, but it doesn't sort of overexpose it, doesn't sort of take the life out of its important meaning as well. So do you feel 4 episodes is just about right, and there was no need to stretch it out for 10 episodes or anything like that?
Yeah, I think so, because we're capturing like a moment in time, this specific event. It's not as if we're looking at maybe his whole life. If it were, then there'd probably be a need to do a few more episodes, but it's just really focusing mainly on that incident and the fallout and the effect, that his wife and son how it affected them. And I don't even think it really spanned more than 2 or 3 weeks of that whole situation. So I think 4 was perfect.
And Estella, the sort of second last question before I let you go. In terms of time for you now, in terms of coming into 2023, is it a busy sort of time for you? Have you future projects in the pipeline that we're going to see on our TV screens here in Ireland? Any movies coming up or anything dropping on BBC, ITV, anything like that in the near future?
Possibly, yeah. There's a few projects coming up that I have to sort of be hush hush about.
Yeah.
I'm also a new mum, so I've got my hands full with a baby. But yeah, I look forward to 2023.
Okay, and Estella Daniels, we're going to turn it over to you now for the final 30 seconds. You might enlighten all our viewers, all our listeners, why they should tune in en masse to get on their TV screens on December the 15th, to turn on ITV-X, and why they should tune into Litvinenko and what's in store for them in terms of what they see.
A lot of twists and turns, thriller, nail-biting, exciting, interesting stuff. That's why you should tune in.
On that note, Estella Daniels, thanks for taking the time to speak to us this evening about your role as Dr. Onome George in Litvinenko, which is dropping on December the 15th. It can be seen all across Ireland and the UK as well on ITV and ITV-X and ITV Plus. It's dropping here on December the 15th. Estella Daniels plays the character Dr. Onome George. Do check it out, a 4-part series. But for the moment, Estella Daniels, take care, stay safe, and God bless.